say definitively that religions are all bullshit.
Welcome to Brainstorm.
We have the explicit tag for a reason.
This is a base level argument to a higher level morality.
I get paid to science?
Two science as much as one can science.
What the hell was my point?
Trigger warning. The Brainstorm podcast will criticize your most cherished beliefs. We attack nonsense in all its forms and discuss difficult subjects. If you peddle pseudoscience, supernatural woo, or religious dogma, then this is not your safe place. This is the home of hardcore skepticism.
It's not like we're behind or anything. Come on. We're right where we're supposed to be.
We are now on time because my last story only took the time that we had allotted. We are moving
so I can
on
get back into derailing the whole
to religious nuttery. So let's do that bumper.
Cornerstone, this might be new to some of you. Scripture says that even our righteous deeds are as filthy rags to God. So even the good things that you do, even things like feeding the hungry and clothing the poor and taking in widows and orphans, as nice as those things are, if not done from the place of obedience to and a relationship with God, are completely worthless and disgusting to God. If you're not daily walking in a place of relationship to God, then the news that we have to bring you is that you're on your way to hell right now.
Does that still piss you off?
It does every single time.
I didn't listen to it this time. I'm sick of hearing that shit.
I'm thinking of changing it.
Oh.
I don't know if you guys watch Mr. Robot.
Yep.
But Elliot had a great rant in one of the episodes. I'm thinking of changing it to that.
You should. You should.
Because this guy's voice is starting to piss me off.
This guy's
Yeah.
smug face pisses me off.
This guy's
that's
smug
great
face.
for radio.
The guy has a voice for radio. Or face for radio.
Yeah, way to fuck that up.
Yeah, I just fuck that up. Never mind. I'll go back in my
I don't know,
corner.
I've never actually heard him speak, but the author of a best-selling abstinence manifesto is sorry, kind of, maybe. Did you guys read the article?
Well,
I
he
did.
has a nice lumberjack look to him, like
He's got a bit of a beard.
a little bit,
a
like
little
the
bit.
hipster lumberjack
Yeah, he's got those
wannabe.
Abstinence, but he looks like a jerk off.
those eyes where he's kind of like
Well, that's
looking
kinda how
at
it
you
goes.
like he wants to hear what you're saying, but then again, it's like, but
So it sounds like
actually,
a pop song. Like,
I don't give a flying fuck what you say.
abstinence. Sorry, kind of, maybe.
Well,
Yeah.
if you pitch it right,
That's
I'll consider
Carly?
it.
Yeah?
Abstinence.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah. Carly Rae Jepsen.
No.
Yeah.
No.
Call me, maybe. Is that
So this
her?
That's the one.
this article is talking about a man by the name of Joshua Harris who wrote a book called "I Kissed Dating Goodbye." I happened to read that book when I was a youth. And
Was that right?
Oh, I
was-
had a bunch of people recommend that book to me.
Really?
I was like, I'm not reading that. I'm going to continue dating.
my copy was borrowed, and I don't know. I was actually trying to find it this afternoon to see if I still had it because I think I got rid of it when I shacked up with my boyfriend that I was having premarital sex with. But Joshua Harris, I guess, is getting a lot of flack. This book came out in '97.
Fucking and dating are two different things.
Well, yeah. He argued that traditional dating was a training ground for divorce because it puts people in the habit of quitting relationships when things get tough.
Marriage is a training ground for divorce.
Pretty much.
No.
No?
No. No.
No?
No.
You know, it's a training ground for divorce.
No,
Stand
no,
there getting
no,
your
no,
nuts kicked in for like 20 minutes. There you go.
Yeah. So, but and also it moves a couple. It's encouraging parents to be involved and give their blessing as well. And it talks about
Parents getting involved with dating?
Yeah, it
That's
argued that any
creepy.
kind of physical intimacy before marriage was a violation of the sacredness of married sexuality, and could lead
Well, that's
to lifelong regret.
Well, I would argue that that's a road to divorce.
But
Well, it depends. If you get married at 13.
Well,
Get a load of this. I have a very good story on this.
please share.
I used to know a guy. Like, we weren't friends. I have to, put that out there as a
Okay.
disclaimer.
Okay.
But he was very much into this kind of shit.
Yeah.
And he did not touch his girlfriend before they were married. And I'm like, no handshake. Like, they physically did not touch before they were married. And they dated, for like a year, but I think they call it like courtship or some shit like
Yeah.
that. But they did not touch. And every single date, one of their parents had to be present.
Wow.
Yeah. And these were fucking adults in their like mid-20s. And every single time, either one of their parents was present, and they would sit separate. Like, they would not touch, and they did not even shake each other's hand before they got married.
Just imagine that, though, the eve of your nuptials, and then suddenly Aerosmith, right? Dude looks like a lady. What do you do?
You haven't been with her yet, I guess.
Once you're married, and then you find out.
You must already love her, right? Right?
Yeah. But, I mean, this...
Right?
And this is just mind blowing. I mean, I can understand.
That's fascinating
There's a
to me.
lot of people who are abstinent, like who don't have sex, but not even shaking the other person's hand or touching them in any way.
That's
like just.
Yeah.
I suppose if you've never had sex, then maybe not touching is the safest bet.
I
remember.
But then again, and then having your fucking parents.
Yeah.
In there, like, everything you say is heard by one of your parents.
Yeah.
Like, kiss the dirty talk goodbye.
Yeah, no,
Right.
They wouldn't know dirty
You
talk.
don't know dirty talk.
Yeah.
I remember a friend of
Dirty
mine.
talk would be, touch my knee. Like, what the fuck?
Can we touch tips, like from
Yes.
the sausage party?
Yes.
Literally reaching out of the bags and touching like the tips of the fingers.
Yes. And then it was practically orgasmic, if not full on.
I think it was full on orgasmic.
Yeah, it was. But this guy, Joshua Harris, I mean, I drank the Kool-Aid too. My friend, like, I honestly think that I don't know what things would have been different for me if I had dated while I was still a Christian, while I was going to church. Because I didn't start dating until I stopped going to church. And it would have been interesting because I know a lot of people, there was a rash of weddings right out of high school where a lot of people that I knew, they just got hitched so they could fucking fuck their spouses. I swear that's why I don't think it was for love. I think it was lust. Full on lust.
Besides the fact that everything's wrong with that.
Point out yet another thing.
But abstinence is what will lead to divorce more
that's right.
frequently than anything else, because
Or at the very least, unfaithfulness or whatever you...
Some people don't realize that they're gay until they have sex with Oh, this ain't my thing.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or you're a dude, you never get to touch a chick, you get married, and suddenly she has a penis.
Yeah. Surprise. But
Well, no, because I'm very sure that the people who follow this kind of doctrine are not okay with...
Right, they would leave them out. They would leave them out to die.
Yeah.
And sacrifice them to...
potentially.
Yeah.
They'd force them into the roles that they were assigned by sex, right? Like, there would never
I'm
be
thinking
any...
it's more along the case of, well, now we're standing here. Do you know how to do this? Nope.
Nope.
Any ideas? Nope. It's not like it says it in the Bible exactly how to do it. I don't know. Do we just pray? Yeah.
Yeah,
maybe,
just kneel down and pray. They'll show
maybe.
you.
How about you kneel this way and I'll kneel right like this way, and then
I'll kneel right behind
I'll
you.
lay down on top of you, and we'll form a cross. That's what we do.
I keep hearing about this.
Some holy moving.
I keep hearing about this missionary position. Well, is that we
missionaries-
both stand in
was a
prayer?
job.
Yeah, that was a job.
I thought that was an opening.
Yeah.
There wasn't.
It was an opening.
It's been filled
Well, barely.
temporarily.
Oh, it's funny.
Oh, I love this.
This is so
And
good.
this
But
just
no, but
derailed.
seriously, like this guy, like he started this movement, and it emphasized the spiritual, physical, and psychological importance of abstinence before marriage, and it created a movement. I mean, I signed a purity pledge when I was 12. Brio magazine had a little thing you cut out, and it, you know, you pledge that you're going to save sex till marriage.
Wow.
I totally signed that when I was 12.
I used
But
to
that-
collect
that-
V cards. Is that kind of the same thing? Was that like purity pledge?
Kind of
like
the
a
same
V
thing. I
card?
actually wrote
in a different way.
I still have that card, and then I wrote
way.
down the day that I lost my virginity, which was
But-
like almost to the day. It was like,
That would have been
Was
cool
it
if every girl was given that. Then when she lost her virginity, she had to give it. Because then I'd have a collection.
you'd actually, yeah,
But-
you'd
but-
have a
but
binder
that-
Gotta catch 'em
full
all.
of V cards.
But that shit doesn't
You'd have
hold
a
up in
binder
court,
full of
does it?
women.
No,
No, not
No.
a legally binding contract.
well, it's with myself ultimately. So,
Well,
can
even
I
marriage
sue
is only a
myself?
2-year contract.
Oh, which is the irony
This
is
is
because
true.
they probably are frowned upon the other thing you could do to yourself.
Oh, yeah, you're not doing that at all. No, that's terrible.
Yeah.
I found it ironic that he was 21 when he wrote this book, Joshua Harris, and he was also a virgin who had been homeschooled his whole life.
Oh.
He was horrendously sheltered, and he
Well,
kind of
okay, all right. A virgin writing a dating book.
yeah,
Yeah.
Okay.
a not dating anymore.
No,
book.
it's simple.
A
Okay.
not dating anymore book. How many times had he dated
Well,
before?
see, that's the thing.
Besides cousins.
He hadn't kissed dating hello. How can you kiss dating goodbye if you haven't even started dating?
I
If
think
you're
it-
homeschooled and you're kept in the basement,
But it seems like this guy just couldn't get a date, and he wanted other people to be like him, so that he wouldn't be less cool than
but
other
now
people.
that I can actually relate to. Like,
Well, he just wanted
Okay,
other people
so
to
he-
not date either.
yeah, so okay. He couldn't get a date. He wanted to find a group that was like him. He couldn't
to
get
be
Well, he
fair-
just wanted to turn other
dates
people
to-
into him.
to be fair, like there's towns in Saskatchewan where, like, I saw teenagers at a gas station. They were buying candy for their long weekend, and they were talking about how great it was going to be to do Bible study and stuff for the weekend. These people were like 17.
That was me, dude.
And that was in, what's that town
fucking
that has
me.
like 22 churches? It's out by Moose Jaw? Carenport.
Carenport.
I was going to say
and that's-
Weyburn, but
That's Karen.
Okay.
And,
Okay,
and then
Brian
those people,
Prentice Bible
have you guys seen
College.
Children of the Corn? I'd
No.
rather deal with the Children of the Corn than like a mid-afternoon on a Wednesday in Carenport.
That was me. That was my mecca. That was my
Fucking psychotic.
right. Right.
So those people exemplify that. That's how they live. They don't see
Yep.
anything else.
Yep. It's crazy. It's crazy. So now, Mr.
Footloose
Harris
is real.
Yeah, it is.
Footloose is real.
It is.
It's like a documentary.
The thing, like this article mentions a documentary called "Give Me Sex, Jesus," and if you
Holy
guys
shit.
have an opportunity, please go watch that documentary because it's.
I'd be scared to Google that. I'll
No.
have to admit.
no, dude,
I think
I did, and I
folder
didn't
of the
regret it.
email.
That seems like it might end up being
It's
dubious.
just basically a documentary about people who were members of the church or Christians, and they talk about their knowledge of sex and how they came, like just that whole process of learning about it, and whether they were guilty when they did it, or it's a really fascinating thing. I found it very, very interesting as a former Christian, for sure.
You know that old saying that if you grow up in a society where they don't know what sin is, they've never read the Bible, then they're not committing any sin until they get introduced to it. So fuck you for introducing the Bible to us.
Yeah.
So what if these people are from a culture where there is no marriage? Are they automatically sinning?
Well, but
They should
according to Christians,
yeah.
you would be, yeah.
Except the word of God should be given to everybody, right? So
I had an evangelical Christian tell me once that everybody had a chance.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Right.
Regardless of how isolated that society is, everybody had a chance.
So you have a
Yeah.
chance to get married before you have sex.
Well, a chance to accept Jesus and do all those
Yeah.
things.
Oh, yeah.
Because
So if you've never heard of
supposedly
them-
Jesus isn't
Rules.
supposed to come
Right.
back until every single person on earth has heard about God.
So he hasn't come back because there's those few little outlying places.
That's why
that are
he
untouched.
hasn't come back yet.
All those people who were
he's-
expecting him in their lifetime,
Yeah.
they just didn't do a good enough job spreading the
Basically,
word.
the awfulness is like you could live in this complete village in the middle of nowhere. Nobody's ever talked to you about the fucking thing, and because you didn't know about it, you're just going to hell. Sorry, like that's basically what this guy told me.
Yeah.
And this was at like one of those years ago, at like this full gospel businessman's dinners bullshit.
Oh my God.
And I sat there and argued with him forever. I was like, because back then I still believed in like a God or higher power, but I didn't believe in that
You
aspect
didn't
of it.
think that everybody should be headed to hell?
Yeah, I
just
was
'cause-
like, that's bullshit. I was like, man, like why would there be a God that like requires
Your God's
you to
an
know that,
arbitrary asshole.
and then it doesn't give you the information. Like, and he's like, oh, and they
Yeah.
all have the information. I'm like, no, like
They don't have
we
the
know
Bible.
for a
Legitimately,
fact
people do
Yeah.
not.
that people didn't have that information.
Exactly,
and people
exactly.
continue to
We're not
have
born knowing about Jesus. Somebody has
Yeah.
to tell us about
Yeah,
that bullshit.
that's right.
Like,
Well,
this
we're
is-
born thinking that we're good people, and then you have to have the people tell you that you're evil and that you're horrible.
You're already a sinner.
You're going to hell, because even though you're an innocent baby. Just fucking bullshit. But this, I don't know. That documentary is part of this article. But I mean, I was scared that Jesus was going to come back before I could have sex. I was really worried about that. I was really worried about that.
That's a legitimate concern.
I
if
was
you believe
scared.
in
I was
that.
like, nobody has asked me out. All the guys I had crushes on, fucking nope.
Forget it.
Yeah.
And as a woman, you're not allowed to hit on men.
No.
Right.
Yeah,
No.
that's
And
a
I
thing.
think maybe that was a turnoff for some guys because I was pretty flirty back in the day. It's ridiculous. But
Well, walking down the hallway screaming, please somebody fuck me, probably isn't a really calm way of
oh
approaching
no, I
things.
should have thought better of that.
Worked so well for you, didn't it, Gumby?
Might have been a bit on the
That would
nose.
work in Weyburn, but it's like sex in jail.
But to finish this talk about the article, he's actually feeling bad about writing this book, and he's looking for people to contact him and tell him how this book has impacted their life. Because some people, it's impacted them negatively. It's made people feel guilty for having sex,
Right.
and I mean it's a big thing. And I mean he's not necessarily doing anything, but there is his website where he has asked for feedback. So I don't know. It's kind of, it's a little bit weird, but
he made it. He made his money, and now he's feeling a little guilty.
Yeah.
yeah.
I think.
Well, he should.
He probably had sex and then realized.
Well, that's just it. Is
Wait a
he finally
second.
he
This is what I told people not to do.
he finally got some,
finally
and
got
he's like, "Hey, this is actually not bad." Oh,
I'm
now I feel
such
bad.
an asshole. Oh my
This
god.
is totally different than what it was like with Father O'Leary.
Well, he has 3 kids. He's still married. It's 19 years after the book has come out, and his kids are teenagers now. So
Well, we know that he's had sex at
So
least
he's
3
still
times.
younger than I am?
We're assuming
It might not be his.
Yeah.
it might not be his. I mean,
Well, if he believes they're his kids,
Oh, okay, there we go.
Yeah, you know,
so
he
if it
probably
was
had.
published in 97, he
might
was
not know how
21 in
conception
works,
97.
21. Okay, so he's still older than me.
Not by
Good.
much.
We're not old.
My knee popped while I was walking today. I was not impressed.
At least it didn't fall off.
I'm married
shit,
to an
there
older
goes my
man,
knee.
so age is just a number. Come on.
My knee's been
Tell my
popping.
body that.
Yeah. I've been
My knee's been popping after I turned 20.
Is that right?
Oh, too many sports. Like I fucked up my knees
Oh,
so
geez.
bad.
one time I was sitting and I heard this creaking and I was like, what the fuck is that
That
sound?
was your knee?
That was my knee.
Yeah, I had that. My ankle will just randomly lock. My shoulder just randomly falls out.
His arm just falls out.
My shoulder. Yeah.
Oh my god, that's
I immediately had the image of Mr. Potato Head just like falling apart.
his arm just falls out. Oh fuck! I better pick that up.
Gumby has leprosy.
Gumby has leprosy.
Oh shit!
Luckily, I haven't done anything strenuous for the last decade, so it hasn't popped up for a while.
So it's been okay.
You're good.
So what's our next story?
All right.
I think I am beating you in steps for the week, though. So
Yeah, you absolutely are. I've been lazy. I've been off for almost 3 weeks now. So, yeah, there's that. Our next story.
back to steps for a sec. I got to derail it a little bit. So we're all doing the Fitbit challenge, right?
Yeah.
And Christy, my finance manager, she's like, I walk you guys every day. I'm doing at least 14,000 steps. I'm like, you're 5 feet tall. I'm 6.5 feet tall. My average step, which I measured out, is a little over a meter.
Right.
So my 13,000 steps is 13 kilometers. Your 13,000 steps is 2.
Well, maybe
quite,
slightly
but-
more than 2.
So
but
obviously
yeah.
she's going to take more steps than I do. So
Yeah.
Isn't that heightist?
yeah, well, she can have longer strides if she tries. She just has to work on it. I'm not stopping her from having better strides.
But it could also be shortest. Like you don't want to just name it after the high people.
Yeah, we're not part of the Urkin Empire in Invader Zim.
Well, because we ask people
not done
how,
by the
like,
tallest.
what's your height? You don't say.
They should start asking what's your height / shortness.
Yeah. How short
What's
are
your
you?
level?
How tall are you? How short are you? What's your level?
Which
That's
feet are
fair
you?
measurements, though.
What's your distance from the face of the earth?
to what part
That's
of me?
what it should be.
To which
Yes.
part?
Yeah,
of me?
and that's what it should say on the driver's license.
To the top of your head. From the surface of the earth to the top of your head.
But if we're on the third floor,
But if we're on the third floor, it
I
doesn't
guess
matter.
Significantly taller.
Yeah.
from the shoe soles to the bald head. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
What if I'm laying down?
Well,
it's still
yeah,
zero. It's still
Still-
the soles of your feet to the top of your head.
yeah, still the soles of your feet, the plant of your feet. Yeah, it still works, Gumby.
So right now I'm about 2-3 feet.
Yeah,
Right now.
and that changes as depending on
As you sit, if you
you're
crouch.
if you're in the fetal position,
That's stupid.
That'll get
You guys are just dumb. Why are we getting derailed here? What's your story?
Yeah, Gumby.
Because your mic is still live. That is why.
So on August 22nd, an atheist, Matt Wilborn from Muskogee, Oklahoma, tried to donate $100 to a home for children in his area. He filled out all the paperwork, and at the bottom of the form, it asked if there was a person or organization that he wanted to put the money in memory of. He put the Muskogee Atheist Community. About an hour later, they called him and said they can't accept his donation because it would go against everything they believe in.
everything.
Everything.
So giving the money goes against helping people.
Yes.
Okay.
Because he's an atheist. Right?
Yep.
So the home is apparently primarily funded by the American Baptist Churches Association. For some reason, I have churches twice. It's the American Baptist Churches Association. Churches.
I do that too.
Kind of like Jim Review, Jim?
Gym Review Jim. Gym Review Gold's Gym.
Jim.
Gym Review Gold's Gym. Gold's Gym is the name of the gym that I... Never mind.
I thought it was a game.
It would have worked better if you would have put a colon or something in there.
I
to
meant
separate
to.
it.
Fuck you.
Oh, I guess maybe grammar is important to get your message across.
You understood what I meant. You're
No,
just
that's
being
why
a dick.
I'm being a dick, because I don't.
So what
If
about
I
this
don't
guy from
understand, I
Muskogee?
automatically go on the attack.
Muskogee. Apparently, so he tried to donate $100. They rejected it. So he offered them $250, thinking that the more he offers, the more likely they'll just accept it. They rejected that. So then he started a GoFundMe page, thinking that at some point there's going to be too much money. They will not reject this just because we're atheists. But on the 24th, they had raised $11,500, and the organization, the what is it? The Muskogee or the Murrow Indian Children's Home. Steele said that they don't trust him and think he's just using it to get more publicity for his organization, the Muskogee Atheists Association. I think that's what it is. Atheist community. And would not accept the money.
So by them publicly declining the donation,
right,
constantly,
he somehow got less.
He's the one searching for the.
That's right.
Okay.
According to the updates on his GoFundMe page, they found a way to get around $5,000 to the Children's Association, but they had to go really fucking convoluted to do it. They had to donate it anonymously, and they had to, or they had to find a church that would donate that amount in their name, because many of the churches in the area said that they would do it.
So, oh, sorry, keep going.
No, go ahead.
So if a church, which operates on land that they don't pay taxes on, and they don't pay taxes for anything, because and the reason the churches aren't taxable is because they don't have a lot of money. That was the original thing. And they wanted all churches to be able to be fairly represented and be able to have churches, not just the Catholic or the Christian churches, but synagogues and whatever. The only way to guarantee that they'd be able to operate is to not charge them taxes, so everybody's treated fairly. If they're not willing to take money from anybody,
well,
shouldn't you lose your fucking your tax
to be fair, it's not the church that's rejecting the money. It's the Murrow Indian Children's Fund.
Right, which is probably also nonprofit.
Yes.
Which should also lose its tax exemption if they're refusing money.
Right.
But I don't think you're required to take money.
Yeah.
The thing is that there is problems.
If you're
there.
a charity, you should be required to accept
but
donations.
That can backfire. I mean, we were kind of talking about this at supper, and
Yeah.
I made the joke about what if the Aryan Nation decided to donate to this?
Why not?
Well, because
that
in
would
a
kind
sense,
of raise some eyebrows.
You don't want to endorse the organization that you're getting the money from. I think you could perhaps accept the money, and then with the caveat that, well, we won't say who it came from.
No.
Or something
Today
like that.
we got a donation of $11,000 from the KKK. We don't agree with their stance or any of their politics, but we appreciate the donation in the way of helping these kids.
But whatever the proper word is, argue that by accepting their money, you're in a way condoning them. I mean, I don't agree with this. I think it's, whatever, atheists given money, who cares? But I can see why they would reject it, because they don't want to be encouraging atheists.
The interesting thing is, though, that part of the interesting thing is that the GoFundMe page ultimately landed over $28,000.
That's
a
funny.
lot of money.
And this organization, I mean, the Muskogee atheist community is going to find a way to get $5,000 to the Murrow Indian Children's Home, whether it be anonymous or whether it be through some other means, because this atheist community, they care enough to say, we're giving this money without any recognition. We don't need to be recognized in any way.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the $5,000, and then the rest is going to Camp Quest, which, I mean, I fully endorsed. It's a camp for critical thinking and science education.
But let's say that whole $28,000 was going to go to this kids' home, right? Which is basically what it is. I've never seen a kids' home or an orphanage or anything where they didn't need all the money they can get.
Oh, no, that's right.
So as soon as you're refusing money, you're basically saying, no, our pride is more important than the welfare of these kids.
Yeah.
Well,
that's
because
what it
they
seems
believe
like.
so firmly, though, that they're believers in God, and I'm sure that they think that this is evil. This money is.
I mean,
tainted.
let's put it another way. Instead of an atheist group, because they're notorious trolls, let's say Church of Satan gave them money, or Temple of Set. It's the exact same thing, but they obviously can't accept that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, the thing is, like Angela said, like they believe it so firmly. Let's say if I was running some kind of charity and the Aryan Nation or the KKK came up and said like, oh, here's a donation, I'd
take it.
No, I would be morally opposed to taking it. I'm like, I
cannot take your money.
I don't even want to shake your
Yeah,
hand.
you don't want to be associated with it. Like, I mean, I don't
And
agree with this situation, but I can I see why it happened.
They probably think they're being complicit with an atheist organization.
Yeah, in a sense, I mean, we're equivocating, right?
Yeah.
The Aryan Nation and atheists.
But it's only to make the example of something that I'm really against, and I would not feel comfortable with doing that.
It's easy to say that sitting here on a couch.
But people like the Baptist Association, I can see how they would be just to the core morally opposed to receiving money from.
I thought we were talking about the Indian Child's Home, not the church.
But those are the American Baptist Churches Association is who primarily funds the Murrow Indian Children's Home, and they closely associate the two. So the people who run the Murrow Children's Home clearly have Baptist or strong convictions in a Baptist religious sense.
So in other words, their religious fundamentals are more important than the health and welfare of kids.
Yes.
That's what it comes down to.
Yes.
By extension, yes.
An individual or organization's convictions are considered more important than the money that they would get and use towards the benefit of children. The story gets a little more in depth when a Christian, Tracy Hughes, I think I'm saying that right, started another GoFundMe in an attempt to raise money for this same organization to spite the atheists.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then atheists started donating to that page. So after it earned
hilarious.
just over $1,000, they shut down that page because they couldn't take the money from atheists.
Yeah.
Or allegedly couldn't take the money from atheists. That's not necessarily a fair evaluation.
And maybe it's the work I've done with charities before, but if your charity is so picky about where the money is coming from, it doesn't need to be a charity.
Something that just came out today.
That really, this whole thing pisses me off so
is
much.
that this same organization or some of the people who work for it have been posting about any money needed will be accepted. Any money donated will be accepted. They want as much money, anything that anybody can give. Mm-hmm. Like, it's to the point, like, they just equivocate, like you say, like they equivocate atheists with the worst possible thing that they could possibly believe exists, right?
Yeah.
Like any person that is an atheist is of ill intent and has bad motivations, so we can't take this money.
Well, to go to a go-to joke from Destin, because they can't take the money because they're going to just feed the kids and fatten up the kids to feed to the atheists, and they just can't do that.
Right. Fatten me up some babies.
No, they're already children that have... they need homes. They don't need to be born.
I want to be
Dave's holding his mic there.
The other white
to say
meat.
something.
Well, I was going to say, you know what? One of the classic criticisms of Mother Teresa was the money she received from dictators and people like that and corrupt individuals.
Right.
And that's been a huge criticism of her accepting that money, right?
Yeah.
So even though some of the work she did might have been noble, not all of it, obviously.
Oh, I was going to say there's way bigger criticisms of Mother Teresa.
Yeah, there's others too. There's others too, but the
But that
idea
was one of them,
that that's one of the criticisms. So I guess by this logic, you'd be okay with her accepting that money from the dictatorship. Then
Well, she also
Right.
took
Sure.
those
things.
It's what's
Yeah.
done with it's resources. You get resources,
well-
and it's what you do with those resources.
Actually, my problem is the equivocation with the idea of an atheist community and, say, dictators
Sure.
or the Aryan
But
Nation.
they- but
I
they-
think that they're making that leap, And I think that's the fallacy.
But from the reverse side of it, right? Like we might not agree with some things that Christians or Muslims do or whatever. So we would think, like, I don't want to support that either, right? Like that's where they're coming from the same way that we would come from that direction, right? Like,
we'll just, I mean, you probably accept the money, but let's say for irony, say the Catholic Church suddenly became a patron, you know, like,
well, yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, that'd
be awesome.
Fuck yeah, I'd take that money. There's no fucking way I would.
I guess you wouldn't be that morally opposed to it. You'd take it in sweet, sweet irony.
That's right.
Yes.
So, see, to
Buy some
say that
beer
you're
with that money.
morally
Or
objective
tomato
of
juice.
something, so you won't partake of that or accept anything from that. That's like saying
I do it. I have to agree. Like if, okay, so there's. I disagree with the equivocation of the Aryan nation or dictators and atheists, right? Like I think that's a fallacy.
I think we're just trying to bring out
Right, and we're trying to rationalize what these people have done.
To them, it's
Yeah.
it's
So
a
to them,
reasonable
it's
comparison to make.
But
For them, yeah.
I think that on some level, this is intended to kind of show them that we're not like those other groups.
Yes.
I think that was
unless
kind
they
of
took it as a trolling. They didn't
well,
want to
and
get trolled.
clearly some of them did.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this Christian that started his own GoFundMe page clearly thought that the entire point was that we're just picking on this children's fund, or atheists are just
by trying to give them money.
Mm-hmm.
and
You
making a big
bastards.
deal out of it, right? Like
Yes. Well, because there's
The
always
atheists didn't make a deal about anything. I read this. Here's some money. No, we
You're
can't
just-
take your money.
You're just making it about
Here,
you.
here's some more money. Please just take it.
Quit making this about you.
No. Okay, well, I'm going to see how much money I can get together until you take it. Just take the fucking money.
Yeah,
No,
like, I don't know.
You're evil.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand where they're coming from, and I didn't before, but I do since talking to Renee, and now that Leo and Angela and Dave have made points. It all makes sense. I just think that they're.
So take the word money out and take religion out. It's something that somebody's morally opposed to, and it's a resource. Okay?
Right.
Just break it down to the basics. So, are you opposed to using aspirin?
I still think that's the wrong thing. Like, okay,
It's a resource.
Well,
let's just say, okay, a non-religious, and I'm not even trying to defend all this.
No.
We're starting to get off the track. But let's just say we have this children's home, and you found out it's all being funded by Pablo Escobar and cocaine drug deals.
Okay.
There'd be some questions there. I mean, like, I know, I
Yeah.
understand the money
Yeah.
itself is not.
You
it's
brought
just-
up the Catholic Church as a patron.
Yeah.
Well, I would gladly take their money.
Yeah, exactly. Spend it on
If-
hookers and blow and things that'd be ironic.
I
but-
have to admit, if the Aryan Brotherhood suddenly became a patron of the show, I might second guess that.
Why? That means the
Well,
Aryan Nation is listening
but-
to your show, and you might educate someone.
but this is all.
That's not what that means.
no.
That's not what that
But-
means.
but
that means
this
they
is-
endorse something you've said.
But we're totally talking about the wrong thing.
Yeah.
Like Gumby says he would take the money. Well, the thing is the reason why they didn't. It's a thing in their mind that they're opposed enough to it. It's not that they're malicious. Like, oh, I have nothing against this, but I like seeing children starve. Like it's
No, and that's just it.
and it's not. It's a mental thing. Like
Yeah, I'm not saying
and
that.
That was Renee's
and
point.
it's
earlier, I
not.
think.
It's not justified.
Was
Like,
that-
I'm not
talking about
defending
the
them.
people part of it. I'm talking about they're a charity. Charities shouldn't be allowed to be picky about where their money comes from if it's not an
Well, I
advertised
think
thing.
To some extent, they have to be.
It's
Yeah,
not like
I
the
think they
atheists
have
have
to
this
be.
billboard saying, we're donating this money, blah, blah, blah. If it's just a quiet donation.
Oh,
They're-
I
they're-
mean,
you're
not
charities are
trying to
allowed to
get
do
favor.
it.
By accepting the money, though, you are acknowledging that you are complicit in a way. Like if taking, like when my dad and my mom gave me $50 for Christmas, which in our family that's a lot of money, and I think it was my grandpa, my grandma gave me cash, and she said, you know, what a great gift it would be for you to give your parents if you accepted Jesus Christ as your personal savior.
Blackmail, that's different.
I sent the check back because I said, Grandma, I'm not accepting this money with this condition because I don't believe in that.
So let's say you're an American citizen and you're completely opposed to them going to war somewhere. Do you stop accepting your tax returns and stuff from the government?
It's a little different.
How's that different?
I know organizations.
So do I.
Who do not take money from the U.S. government, like the grants that are available for nonprofits.
I'm talking about an individual that's morally opposed to what the government's doing.
They don't take money from the U.S. government. They will take money from other governments, like the Canadian government, but they do not take. Because they work on peace building in countries where the U.S. has
UNICEF, for example.
Yeah, like they work in countries where the U.S. has started wars, and they do not take any money from the U.S. government on that basis.
Right,
and it's a sort of respectable position. I don't think I would. I'd probably just take the money where I can get it, but they have their moral, like philosophical reasons. Like, we are opposed to what you are doing, and we will find our money elsewhere. And it's a matter of personal conviction, who you take money from and who you don't.
Yeah.
And people have very different convictions. There's other 8 organizations that take a shitload of money from the U.S. government and still do the same work. You know, I mean, it's a matter of personal conviction.
Yeah.
Well, no,
the problem
corporate
is
conviction or your nonprofit organization's conviction.
The problem becomes that atheism is suddenly something that should be objectionable.
I hate the fact that it's an ism.
But then again,
that's a different conversation.
To a church, it is.
Yeah.
But
it's
on
always
what
been.
basis? And that's the problem. Is like, it's a different set of beliefs or non-beliefs.
Yeah.
And they should be able to deal with that in a real world where other people have other beliefs. We have to accept that they have beliefs and deal with their shit, and they should have to deal with ours.
You are using a rational argument against someone that believes in a 2,000-year-old fucking book.
God's diary.
That's fair. You got me beat.
Well, and that's
like I said, I mean, I don't like with this article. I understand that both sides are stupid, but ultimately, that's just it. Is if it comes down to that simple thing: is that as a church organization, if they accept money from non-believers, atheists, whatever, in a way, it'll look like they're
to them.
Do you know who the original non-believers are in North America? Indians.
Okay,
it's an Indian kids school thing.
Yeah, it's for a powwow, wasn't it? There was some kind of
guess what's completely against Catholicism?
But it's beside the point.
That's beside the point. Because if that group was organizing it, they probably would have accepted the money and we wouldn't be talking about it.
It's true. If they were their own First Nations group, they probably, I don't know, they probably would have accepted the money.
Well, I think we've made our point.
I think it's a political thing. For me, it's all about government. It's all about government spending.
Right. For you, that's
Canada,
what it is.
In Canada, if you have a charity, that means that the government is subsidizing you. If somebody wants to come along and give your charity $20 million, and you no longer need government subsidy, but you're like, no, we don't deal with Colgate. Sorry, we're Crest only. We're not taking your money.
Fuck that shit.
What if your organization is an anti-fluoride organization?
Then it shouldn't exist.
But what if it is, and what if it does?
It's not doing any good work and shouldn't have any...
That's the level we're discussing here, right?
Right.
Okay, so a religious organization shouldn't fucking exist because it's nonsense. But it does.
You can have a non-profit organization and a charity as two different things. A church isn't a charity. It can have moral high ground. A charity is by definition begging for money.
Not in today's society.
That's what a charity.
Well, the thing is that might be the legal definitions, but
that's the only important thing.
No, I mean, unfortunately, we're talking perceptions.
Yeah.
is what we're dealing with. We're talking perception because they didn't want to take the money because the perception
You're right.
would be...
That guy that was standing on the corner said, I will only take money from Christians. I don't want any of your atheist money for my food.
And it's also about reality. It's not... Like in a perfect world, we would have very different systems. And in reality, this is what happens. And we are analyzing why they happened the way they did.
Yeah. People make stupid kind of decisions all the fucking time.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're wrong.
Bear exists as a company. We still spend money on. We still spend money on drugs that were developed by torturing people in Nazi death camps.
Okay, you just brought up Nazism. Your argument is you're invalid.
I didn't bring up Nazism. I brought up
the death camps, Nazism. That argument is null and void.
Bit of a.
If you like what we're doing and want to help us keep the lights on, go become a patron at patreon.com/brainstorm podcast. You can hear the bonus half hour that we record every episode and get a shout out when you support the show. Become a patron for just $1 an episode at patreon.com/brainstorm podcast. Or you can support the show by ordering a t-shirt, mug or other gear from our store at caffeepress.ca/brainstorm podcast gear. If you can't afford to become a patron or buy gear, then why not give us a rating or write a review on iTunes or Stitcher? Every rating makes it easier for people to find us. Thanks for your support.
We are given one life, full of billions of small and large decisions. To be somebody, to change, to be kind, to give hope, to become a better person, and to leave a lasting impact on this planet. It is a decision to be made every single day while your heart is still beating. We've made our decision. Absence of Clothing, atheist and science-based apparel and merchandise, donating 50% of our profits to charity. Look good and feel good, without God. Check us out at absenceofclothing.com and find us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Pinterest for discount codes and other sweet swag.
Use the code BRAINSTORM at absenceofclothing.com and get 10% off.
Is your podcast library short of comedy? If so, how about giving Atheist Apocalypse podcast a listen? Come join our cast of jaded journalists, hopeless romantics, and aimless idealists as they deal with a perplexing government running amok in a post-apocalyptic world. You can find Atheist Apocalypse, a member of Fatecrafter Studios, on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Play, and Stitcher, or by going to atheistapocalypse.com. And while you're aimlessly surfing the internet, why not go over to fatecrafters.net and check out the other audio dramas offered by the studio, like You Are Here, our new sci-fi choose-your-own-adventure podcast. Fatecrafters Studios, bringing you the best in audio dramas since, well, just this year. But we swear, all of our shows are totes entertaining.
According to my notes, you have a story.
I don't really have a story.
According to my notes, you have one. And we have about 8 minutes before we have to end this episode.
Okay, so my story is the best story. It's such a good story. You don't even know. It's fantastic.
It's tremendous.
Story.
It's a tremendous story.
Huge.
So this story, frequent religious service attendance is linked with decreased mortality risks among women.
I'm fucked.
So basically, in Boston, Massachusetts, women who attend religious services more than once per week were more than 30% less likely to die during a 16-year follow-up than women who never attended. The study from Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health, frequent attendance also had significant lower risk from both cardiovascular and cancer-related mortality. The study was published online on May 16th this year in JAMA Internal Medicine. Now, on here it says, our results suggest that there may be something important about religious service attendance beyond solitary spirituality. This is from a professor of epidemiology. Is that right?
Epidemiology.
Epidemiology.
I always have trouble with them.
Epidemiology.
At Harvard Chan School. Part of the benefit seems to be attending religious services increases social support, discourages smoking, decreases depression, and helps people develop a more optimistic and hopeful outlook on life. So you're less likely to smoke if you spend 2 days in church because you're spending 2 days in church. You're less likely to get things like lung cancer or liver failure or drinking-related diseases because if you're a type of person that goes to church more than once a week, you're probably not at the bar. It has nothing to do with the benefit of going to church. It's just the benefit of not being somebody that goes to the bar and somebody that smokes.
What's JAMA?
It's a medical journal that's not really as recognized as others.
Clearly, because they're publishing shit like this.
What was their sample size?
I don't know.
It doesn't say in this article.
It doesn't say
One
anything in this
person.
article.
One person. Yeah, like 3 people? 5 people?
Yeah. This person went to
Where's
church.
this at the bottom here? Using
here we go.
Slightly longer.
This
New
is
study
actually not
addressed these
bad.
criticisms by rigorous methodology that controlled for common causes of attendance and mortality, used a large sample size, and repeated measurements over time, both attendance and health.
Looks like from 1992 to 2012, 74,534 women.
Yeah, that's a good sample size.
That's a pretty good sample size.
But what they're looking at is the physiology of these people and not the social aspect, that the people that go to church generally aren't people that go into the bar.
Yeah.
Or what
The
about
attendance
people...
of church isn't making you healthier. It's not being the person that's going to the bar and smoking and drinking.
And when I read the article, I was like, yeah, sure, I can see how that happens. I mean, if you're going to church, you most likely ingest less like substances that'll
it's just
kill you.
a matter of...
like people that go to church every Sunday. When we were hanging out back in the day in Weyburn, how many of the people at the old apartment or that we hung out with went to church every week? None.
None?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Well, no, there might have been 1 or 2.
Yeah. How many of them went more than once?
Well, no, maybe 1. I don't want to. I don't know. I didn't follow everybody
Right?
home.
Almost nobody. Almost nobody I can think of
They
would
may
have
not
gone to
have
church more than
revealed
once
their
a week.
Sunday plans.
But
yeah.
I don't know.
But then again, it's kind of like that argument of how married men live so much longer because they're married. I mean, it's
Because they're women or... You should go to the doctor.
There's something wrong
It
with you.
seems like a very simplistic.
See, I don't understand that living longer at all. It just doesn't seem
Living
like it's gonna
longer? No.
I don't know. I was actually making that up. Like there is a study that of something along those lines. I can't remember the exact thing, but it's the same thing where it's just like, well, these people live 10% longer because they're all churchgoers.
Well, correlation doesn't necessarily mean causation.
Right.
The only factor that they looked at was church attendance.
Right.
They
What
didn't
else?
look at
What other
what
variables are
what other
involved?
hobbies. Like if my craft collective attendees were to be researched over the next 16 years, would we see less death?
Did they look at the people who got drunk 6 days and then went to church
Exactly.
the 7th?
And
Yeah, the correlation
Just
is
to-
very thin.
to wear off
Very
the
thin
hangover.
correlation.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh dear Lord, please help me.
Kill me or take this
Got
away
drunk
from
6
me.
days a week, went to church once. So, like, Pastor Jim.
Yes, you can do all kinds of things. You get drunk 6 days, smoke cigarettes or smoke pot or
I remember
inject
being
heroin.
Smoke pot, you're not going to die because it's a cure-all. Because
Oh, that's
Yeah.
true. Yeah,
cures
no, I
all the
forgot.
cancers.
Cures all the things.
Yeah.
of course, the people that believe that are the ones that smoke way too much pot.
My stepson believes that. He doesn't.
It cures
support me.
everything and gives me huge hands, man.
Have you ever looked at a dollar bill?
On
Have you ever looked at it on weed?
Now I want to watch Biodome again.
Watch what?
Biodome.
Unfortunately, that was just recorded.
Yeah,
We have proof.
that's actually the most blackmail we've ever had on this show. Gumby said some horrible shit, but he's never said that.
Yeah, but I don't care. You can't blackmail somebody that doesn't give a shit.
That's fair.
Well, that's true.
I reveal my secrets so you don't have to.
Yeah.
I don't have very many.
Okay.
And that was half baked. I don't know.
That's true.
Which I do want to watch half baked now.
All right.
But I kind of, part of me kind of always wants to watch half baked.
All right, everybody say
The
what the
7-Eleven part's my favorite.
What the fuck?
What the fuck?
What the
I
fuck?
say what the fuck.
What the fuck?
Okay.
That was,
now Leo's got a story.
You got to get that recorded, man, because it sounds worse every time.
Yeah.
It does sound.
We need
this time sounded better than last time.
Yeah. We need to do it so we can echo, like put in some vocal
like
effects.
a Dennis Leary, what the fuck?
Yeah, definitely a Dennis Leary. What the fuck?
All
we
right,
could do
so
4-part harmony. What the fuck?
quartet style. So it turns out Obama is recruiting lesbians to work on farms. So that's pretty much the extent of the story.
Just to work on farms?
Yeah, apparently they
like nothing else.
No, just like to be farmers.
It's disappointing.
So that's a thing.
Wow.
And we have this from a very credible source, which is Rush Limbaugh. So it must be true.
Yeah.
So
lesbian farm has to be somebody's personal.
Are they farming more lesbians?
I'm just going to
dream porn.
I'm going to run through this according to Rush Limbaugh. So he said Rush Limbaugh accuses President Obama and the Democrats of recruiting lesbians to attack, air quotes, conservatives in rural areas of the U.S. So the story came from the Ministry of Agriculture in the United States, hosted a forum or a sort of like a meeting of sorts where they were trying to educate LGBT farmers, rural communities, on some of the support systems that they have, such as anti-bullying and just generally, holding a forum on agriculture. So Rush Limbaugh took this, or actually it was somebody else. I can't remember the name of the blogger. Some blogger picked this up and twisted it into they are recruiting lesbians to become farmers and to push out the conservative ideals from the rural areas of the U.S. And then Rush Limbaugh reading bloggers and taking them as credible news sources.
As he does.
Went off on a long rant and basically proclaimed this to be true and that it was a very finely organized plot to get rid of the last conservative stronghold in the U.S., which is rural United States.
How long ago was that?
That was last week.
Okay.
Oh, that means we'll see that. We'll hear that on News Talk Radio pretty soon.
Well, the forum was. Yeah. I think the forum or the thing
definitely calling in
that they were holding. That was in the end of July, I think, and then in August, this blogger concocted this thing, and then about a week ago, Rush Limbaugh picked it up.
Rush Limbaugh still has a format? Like he still
he still has his radio show. Oh yeah.
He's lost a lot of advertisers,
but he's more though.
But when I drove through the US last Christmas, I was just pressing the seek button on my radio just to check, and Rush Limbaugh was on once you got south of Colorado.
He was just on.
He was on several different stations pretty much consistently.
That's crazy.
But yeah, so he's still a thing, and you can look up that audio, though I would suggest you don't.
No, I will not. Thank you.
I love to hear a ranting fat white guy on Adderall.
Yeah,
lesbians are taking over.
Well, and that shows the difference of Canada and the U.S. Because here, the support structure would be like, are you a farmer? Are you LGBT? Are you having trouble merging yourself with the fact you're LGBT and you're a bigot? If you need help, come see us. Because to be fair, and this is straight up honest, I haven't met anybody that's in that community that isn't kind of
in the farming community that isn't a little bit.
One of the
that I know very well personally. I've had customers that I don't know well.
There was one of the winners of the Amazing Race was a gay couple.
But were they Saskatchewan farmers?
No, they were like.
That's the real question.
And how many gay and lesbian farmers are there?
I don't think there's that many.
No, I mean, and I think that's beside the point. Like this was a super small thing that nobody should even have heard about.
Yeah, I'm just interested in logistics.
Yeah.
That's all.
Well, they were just, and this was in Ohio. Just the Ministry of Agriculture in the state was holding a forum, just basically educating. Had a special focus on, because they know that in the rural areas, like if your kids go to a small school, like if you're a lesbian couple and your kids go to a small school of 100 people, and bullying is very, very likely. Mm-hmm. And so it was basically just, it seemed like a totally innocent thing, just like, oh, we're gonna inform people on some of the things that are resources that are available to that kind of situation. So it just got blown way out of proportion. That's why it's in the what the fuck
It started off as a
segment.
perfectly reasonable thing that's actually good for the community, and then it got Rush Limbaugh.
Got Rush Limbaugh.
But
It's a verb now.
But the lady who came up with it, I just can't remember her name, but who originally blogged
It was
about
a lady.
Yeah,
Oh.
she's also
She just is a closet lesbian, maybe.
Well, she's behind.
Ann Coulter?
No. But she's also responsible for a lot of other conspiracy theory type hypes. Like, so it's basically just somebody pulling stuff out of their ass and just concocting weird shit, like putting together something that is pretty much 100%
I mean, if
made
there's
up.
a gay mafia, why can't there be lesbian farmers?
Exactly.
I mean, come on.
It's fair.
There's a gay mafia.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, haven't you heard?
Yeah.
We had the leader on the other week. The Atheist Manifesto.
Atheist.
Nah, that's a different thing. A manifesto is not a gay mafia.
Mafias have a manifesto, don't they?
No, manifestos are political.
They're for communists.
Yeah.
They're just for communists? That doesn't seem fair.
Not necessarily.
Do they get to have all the fun?
I know that's not a factual statement. I was just
I was going to say, because
throwing shit out there.
The Unabomber had a manifesto.
Everybody's got a manifesto.
Yeah.
We'll manifest this.
All right, Renee. What's your what the fuck?
It's a good one. Basically, there is. This one's been floating around for a while, but it's popped up on Vice.com. I get all my shit from Vice.com because it's so entertaining.
It's fun.
She calls herself
Incredible.
The feminist, basically a combination of feminist and atheist. Also calls herself feminist divine. She came out with the statement. Well, apparently, where do I got it highlighted?
There was only one divine ever.
Yeah.
And he was awesome.
I think you mean she. When it was divine.
They're both correct.
Yeah. Anyway, she's apparently a 22-year-old criminology student who came up with this. She's currently about 200 pages into what she hopes to be a 700-page manifesto.
Domo arigato.
Well, the exact thing is
Manifesto.
700-page manifesto outlining the philosophy femitheism. And it's called The Ratio. And what she wants to do is to achieve true equality. She wants to eliminate 90% of all men.
But not to kill them.
Not to kill them. No. It's not a calling. It's not a calling.
What is it? How would she
basically
do it?
through because most men die in violent.
Attrition?
Basically attrition.
Because through gladiator games.
Yeah. Well, actually, most men die through violence in wars or crime.
Right.
And so
she's just going to let them die.
Let them die, and the rest will happen through genetic manipulation and sex selection, like abortions.
Right.
So what's this whole thing? I just scrolled through it. The International Castration Day.
Oh, that was her.
That caught my eye.
That was her original post, which kind of started all of it.
Okay.
Which I didn't.
It kind of scared me a little bit.
It is a little frightening.
Yes.
Because I couldn't find her actual YouTube video, but I did find one where a guy basically re-recorded it and added little animations. It's basically where she declared that there'll be an international castration day where all the men in various major centers will be lined into the square, and there will be one woman who will be known as the castrator, and who will...
don't like that woman.
Yeah.
I don't like her one bit.
I already know I would hate that woman.
And so...
I know that's not nice, but I don't think I would like her one bit.
Well, she's trying to cut your balls off. I wouldn't like her either.
I would not give her candy.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure
No Sour Patch Kids
she might
for
take my
you.
candies.
So, in a way you will not like.
Yeah.
And at any rate, so yeah, all the men are supposed to line up, and this is supposed to help them because having testicles, one, it causes testicular cancer and leads to violence and all these other kind of things.
That's true. You take them right out, there's no cancer in
There's
them.
going to be no. You're not going to die.
I'm still stuck on the leading cause of death for men being war, and what was the other one?
Just violence.
Violence?
No,
Yeah.
heart disease, then cancer, then cerebrovascular disease, then unintentional injuries.
I think her point is that we're just not going to treat men who have disease.
Yeah. I don't think she's if you did your homework, Cumby, and read it, she's not exactly.
I read the title.
That's about as far as I expected you to do. So I like.
Nope.
Yeah. No. This is bullshit, which it is. But
I think we always attack the wrong thing. Like we go on the assumption that these people actually have science to back shit up. So like we shouldn't we shouldn't expect them to have any kind of numbers right. Like everything is made up.
How could you be 200 pages into that?
I'm not sure. But
really big letters.
Well, supposedly she has done some
big font.
Apparently,
Double
she has
spacing.
done some. She claims to have done some like
Google searches.
She's got some numbers to back up her. Like with reducing it down to 10% males, that there is enough genetic material that inbreeding and genetic bottlenecking. It's still possible with only 10% of the male population.
So those 10% who are left are going to have a really good time.
This is her argument.
Well,
This is her
Except
argument.
when they're in cages and being fed through whatever.
Oversexed.
Well,
It better be free range.
Well, her argument
free
is
range. I want to be one of the free range ones.
Yeah, that sounds nice.
So can I run in the park and like?
But so
I don't want to nest in a perch. I want to be free range.
But is she suggesting that we should have a system kind of like how you have cattle breeding, like you have one bull to like 20 cows and stuff?
It's very much
sort of. Like
Okay.
this is. She's saying it's by creating such a small group of male that they're actually elevated and whatever else, and that they'll be kept so that they're all their wants or needs are fulfilled. But they're kept as breeding stock. Yeah.
All the
Well,
women,
So
and all the women will cut off their left
the way
breast,
we talk about bulls.
live in the Amazon.
If this ever happens, I will make sure to go to the gym really, really often so that I make that breeding stock.
Well, this is
I'm
just
already
it.
started, man.
They said that. They said that, you know what,
Comes
the
way
men will be
in, yeah.
judged not only on they can't just be brutes because anyone can lift weights.
Library and gym.
Yeah.
Vocabulary,
That's
sense
right.
of humor.
I'm going to open up a gymbrary.
I'm actually
Or is it
way ahead of the game here
Gymbrary?
because I constantly am trying to learn, and I'm like kind of smart.
You're trying to learn.
And I go to the gym all the time. I try and stay in good shape.
I got it. We can call it the Jibrary.
The Jibrary.
We're going to open up some
Yes.
Jibraries.
Yes. I can watch educational YouTube
Just don't
videos,
review them.
read books.
Just don't review it.
And
I
then
can review it. That
Don't
makes me
review
look
this.
smart.
And then our slogan can be, if you want to be breeding stock, come to the Jibrary.
The Jibrary.
The thing is
yes.
in this
Our books are heavy.
in this one you won't even have that. You won't have the choice because what she's also
Jibrary.
subjecting is that all the children will be basically raised by the state.
Communists.
It's
What the fuck? Like, what's her romantic past? Like, what motivated her to come up with an idea like this?
I feel like this
Did
lady,
she have
this
her
lady,
heart
and
broken? Like,
the guy who wrote that book that you talked about,
The
they should
man
that they should get together.
well, see, the thing is, I went to her webpage.
I'd
and
rather go dystopian.
well, this is the problem. Is
Nuclear winter sounds pretty preferable.
This whole thing sounds like she read The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. I just went, I like this idea, but we're going to fucking flip the script here.
yeah.
You know.
Yes. Oh, that's just disturbing to me. I mean, I don't know. I think it would be really fucking frustrating to have to compete with, like,
all I could think of while I was reading this,
9 women, eight other women for one dude. What the fuck?
Have you ever seen that feature
competing when they're in a cage and you're in line? That's not a competition.
Have you ever seen that Futurama episode where they go to Amazonia?
You just wait your turn and
No, I haven't.
Okay, men, you're going to be. We've decided you must die. Death by snoo.
yeah.
But why do you even need men? Why magic bullet, turkey baster? You're good.
Well, you know what? There's something to be said
At
for
that
that, but there's also something to be said for the chemicals and the.
She's kind of
the
covered
sheer,
that.
Like
she's covered that too. Because where is it? Basically, she's talking about how the getting rid of the nuclear family. Basically, she figures that women will all become lesbians.
Oh,
yeah.
But
they can become farmers.
Yeah, then they become farmers.
Yes.
Well, they'll have to be if all the men are dead.
grow the wheat
Isn't
for my bread.
Then we can
like
insult them.
figure out that sexuality is a thing that you're born into, not
But this is just it. She's like, the question the interviewer asks is, doesn't this all assume that women will automatically form lesbian relationships? And her answer is, relationships between females and males have been different throughout all of history. Associations between women and men differ with the time and popular socialization. Today, that is not common or normalized, but these times pass as more women are interested in other women or will be willing to indulge and experiment. Basically, she's saying,
no.
If you have no other choice, it's kind of like prison. You're going to do it.
Kind of like prison. You do what's there, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like prison, only worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think she's got this.
How is this a good future for anybody?
As a female who is heterosexual, I don't think that it's reasonable to be expected to not. No, I can't do this.
I don't want
can't
to live
do
in a cage.
Well, see, and that's why this follows it up with, I'm not sure. You
I'm
think it's
assuming
genetic?
you'll be one of the
Question mark.
10% that lives, but I don't want to.
Perhaps it is
I'm
partially
not risking
genetic.
this shit.
It's like that zombie
Partially-
thing where there's a dude standing on top of the car surrounded by zombies. You think this is you. This is you.
This is you.
Way over here.
Yeah.
So-
You're the zombie at the
So
back.
Renee,
That's-
she said
Sorry.
it's
Perhaps it's partially genetic, but it's also due to an ingrained fear that men have of appearing homosexual, because that is what a man is supposed to be. With combined forces of social and genetic engineering, we can easily reshape and mold human sexuality into whatever we desire.
What is she fucking talking
no,
about?
that's not how that
That's
works.
bullshit.
No, it's not how it
Well,
works.
and this is not the first time that she's been wrong. Like, we've been hearing, like, yeah,
Fair,
I don't
fair enough. That's true.
Thanks for being the voice of reason. Leo.
I wonder why we are continually surprised.
Why are we still
with
talking
every
about
word?
this?
It's
Every time she
fascinating.
says something else, we're like, no.
No. That's incorrect. That is incorrect.
You know what would be hilarious though, because you know how your favorite book series was very Randian.
Yes, a little bit. Yeah.
Imagine if he would have read that instead.
What would the sort of truth be like if it was?
It'd be a little more rounded and pink, I'm sure.
See, I still say what it is
Tapered.
she is just playing with the... and I've actually had this argument with a friend's ex-wife where it's the opposite stereotype, right? The stereotype is, men, we're all just aggressive and fucking war, dun, dun, dun. But women are all gentle and understanding and rational and whatever else.
Right.
They can solve all the world's problems with a nice glass of wine and a bundt cake. You know, like, it's just the flip side of the same.
Her
Right,
opinion?
No, this is me making fun of her.
Okay.
It's almost like she's still just playing into standard gender roles.
Yeah, standard gender role, standard stereotype. And it's
Yeah.
like,
She doesn't realize that it's a spectrum.
well, yeah.
No,
It's
that's right.
it's basically, while I was reading it, I could think of like a bunch of different science fiction like movies and stories that have already covered kind of these ideas, but it's a way to kind of mock these kind of ideas. Like, I mean, this whole idea of this utopian society.
How's that utopian?
Well, I mean,
In her mind, it
In
would
her
be.
mind,
In
it
her
would
mind,
be.
it would be utopian.
She's
for sure.
got this picture in her head,
So all
of
I'm
like
getting is she
all the
hates
men
men.
in cages and women lined up.
Well,
to have
in her,
sex
she's
and,
not
like-
even. She's not even saying
Sorry.
they're all in cages, but
right.
they're
right.
reduced.
They're breeding stock.
They're breeding stock.
They're
They're-
in fields.
Yeah, they're
surrounded by
elevated
a
because
fence.
You know, well,
you know.
to them, to the 10%. Think about it. For the 10% of the men, it's why would it be bad? They have.
Would
Well,
you
yeah,
not get
because she
tired
doesn't
of
understand how free will works.
Because because they're getting fed, they're elevated, get to bang 20 different chicks and no one's getting mad at them. Like, it's ideal for them.
What if you're
Why
homosexual?
the hell is that ideal?
What if you're
Again,
homosexual?
hey,
And what if you're
hey.
asexual? What if you
No, but
don't like
if-
having
What
sex?
if you're
at all?
heterosexual and just want one partner?
Again, we're assuming that nobody's getting mad at them too. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
they could all be mad at you.
But what if somebody doesn't want to be breeding stock? How does that work?
Well, that's what castration is for.
That's what the
castration is.
re-nedification is for.
Never mind.
None of this is good.
None of it is good.
See, no. If you don't want to be breeding stock, then you're sent down the tube, and then you're intravenously fed to all the other people.
Yeah, Soylent
Yes,
Green
that's
is
right.
people.
You're ground up real quick, like.
And made into sausage.
Soylent Green.
Ashes,
Soylent
ashes,
Soylent
And
ashes.
on that
Matrix.
lovely note, I think we'll cut this one. This off.
See, no. If
Phrasing. That's
Chris-
bad phrasing. Bad phrasing.
Bad castration.
If Chris would have been able to hear this whole thing, I would have been like, "That's what I mean when I say retard."
Okay. I have apparently not edited this portion. Wheel did send another email about asking. Well, first he said something along the lines of, "If you keep reading my emails, I'm going to think I'm the only one contacting you." To which I replied, "Of course, you are the only one emailing." He asked,
true.
He asked about how many listeners we have, and we have approximately 200 to 100 downloads per episode.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad. He was surprised that it was that low. But,
Yeah.
but
We're not.
we're not. So
Hey, it's better than 2 listeners.
yeah, it is better than 2 listeners.
That's true.
We're down a listener because I don't listen anymore.
Since Gumby doesn't download the show, and I'm pretty sure Renee doesn't download the show.
I listen to it.
And
on
I know
Stitcher.
I don't download the show.
And I've stopped downloading the show.
And you stopped downloading the show.
I just listen to it through Stitcher.
Are we at 196 then?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, that's 4 people down.
Son of a bitch.
That's it. I quit.
That's it. I quit.
Fuck this.
But we still have Daryl, Josh, William, or Will, Rob, and Nathan as patrons. So
we should
guys are
actually
awesome.
ask them what they think makes the show worth being a patron for, and what we could do to attract more
Right.
like-minded individuals.
and then we'll.
I mean, other than doing the obvious, like actually doing our
A
homework.
good show? No.
yeah.
Even
no.
Not
we'll
necessarily
take that
like-minded.
advice.
Just
and
other.
we'll reject it.
And the stuff we're doing now that makes you want to listen, we'll just do that constantly until it's really annoying.
Right.
Then other
Yeah.
people
Right.
listen.
Yeah. Anyway.
Wait a minute. Every time we gained a new patron, I wasn't on the show. I don't think.
Yeah, that's fair.
There's-
I think that's a safe assumption, even if.
Correlation does not mean causation.
So I'm probably the one holding us back. So
That's
what
a
we're
good segue.
saying is, you guys should pay me to not be on the show.
Will actually increased his donation numbers this last period in between shows. So I really
That's
appreciate
really
that.
cool of
Thanks,
him.
Will.
Thank you.
Let's do some outro music.
I've never seen any of this money.
That's
Me
because
neither.
I'm still paying for everything.
Oh, that's.
And I'm still in the hole. So once I come out of the hole, then people might start seeing something.
Maybe
Some
bring
improvement.
some tomato juice for all of us.
Yeah, that's right. We'll record another half hour for our patrons. You can get that bonus content by becoming a patron at patreon.com/brainstormpodcast.
And Corey can get his 8th gold tooth.
Yeah, well, I'll start with the first one someday. I will so.
Gold?
Well, not gold, but something.
Corey's getting a grill.
Diamond.
Okay.
I lost mine.
You can get our bonus content
For real?
every episode. And you can also get full ad-free episodes,
screwing up your outro,
including music,
I'll read it.
the day before the regular feed. You can also join us for the next live broadcast. Oh, excuse me. By following us on Spreaker, just enter Brainstorm Podcast into the Spreaker search bar, or you can go to our website, brainstormblog.net, and check out our live show page on the upcoming events page. Our next episode, we have Steve Novella on.
That's awesome. How did you get Steve Novella on?
I just sent him an email.
And he said he would come on?
Yes.
He hasn't listened to the show.
No, he has not.
That's
sure.
why. Okay. Well, I'll be here for that episode for sure. I got lots of questions for him.
We have upcoming events.
I forgot my question.
The AB Secular Conference.
How many babies do you...
On the 15th and 16th in Edmonton. Check out the show notes for the link to their Facebook page. Remember to rate us and write a review on iTunes and Stitcher, or hit that subscribe button. The more people who subscribe, the better we do in our ratings. Better.
The more well known our interview people are, the more listeners we get too.
Oddly enough, eh?
Yeah, so like Steve Novella.
Well, hopefully, yeah. Like
he's really well known.
He's really well known. Aaron Raw's episode is still our best one yet.
That was a good interview there.
Thanks, Dave, for our intro music. Thanks, Alex Capper-Murdoch, for doing the voiceover for the intro and some of our ads. Thank you to Jason Camo for our outro music. You can find his stuff at aloststateofmind.com. All music played is either with permission or under the SOCAN license to play. For more information on SOCAN, you can check out the music license info on our website, brainstormblog.net. You can also get cool Brainstorm gear at cafepress.ca/brainstormpodcastgear, or go to the support page of our website. If you didn't get a chance to contact us through the live chat, which apparently almost nobody got to this week, but think you need to tell us something, you can email us at mail@brainstormblog.net, or go to brainstormblog.net and go to the contact page, fill out the form.
Or you can call Corey directly at 306.
If you have a podcast or website and want a shout out or a promo to play, let us know. We're also offering advertising to podcasts, bands, people, and organizations on the website.
Anybody that wants to give us money. We won't say no to a Christian organization that wants to advertise on our
We
site.
won't, actually. I think people who listen to our show would think it's hilarious.
Yes.
And if they do advertise, we reserve the right to make commentary about the
Yes, absolutely.
Well, no, we reserve the right to make commentary about anything ever. So
yeah.
Please listen to our, what do you call it, disclaimer at the very end of the show.
we should start putting it at the beginning.
Yeah. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you in a couple weeks when we have Steve Novella from The Skeptic's Guide to the Universe.
Tell all your friends that Steve Novella is going to be on next time. It's going to be fun.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Thanks,
we'll have a
guys.
3-hour interview with him.
We just wanted to say thanks to everyone who listens to us, shares the show, gives us a rating on iTunes or Stitcher, or supports us through Patreon and Gumroad. We don't have a lot of interaction sometimes with our listeners, but what we have had proves that we attract some of the best people around. Smart, kind, and cool. An audience truly worthy of the titles hardcore and woo-free. Thanks for helping us make the world a smarter place.
This is an opinion-based podcast. Each person on the podcast is responsible for their own opinions, and those opinions don't necessarily reflect the views of the rest of the panel. Any guests or anyone associated with the people on the podcast, such as spouses, partners, children, other family members, friends, or employers. No one person speaks for the podcast, with the possible exception of Corey, and he doesn't speak for anyone else on the show. The Brainstorm podcast does not represent the views of our sponsors.